downpours of rain, quite a bit of rainfall, and at least one tornado warning. It was Doppler indicated, but not one that actually touched down. But certainly some intense activity last evening. Right now, we are tracking showers moving through the area right at this moment. Some light to moderate heavy rainfall, not extreme rainfall at least. It's a little more progressive than some of the storms last night. Things moving fairly quickly, but quite a bit of lightning and some brief, again, moderate doses of rainfall. Showers around Rochester. Most of the lightning now showing up east of here toward Plainview, up toward Wabasha, and down toward Preston at this point, and more rain extending to the west. All of this will move through the area for the next several hours, right through at least about 9 or 10 o'clock this morning, before we see a couple of breaks developing in the showers. 1 to 3 inches of rainfall depicted on our radar estimates to the north. Here in Rochester, about ½ inch or less in most cases, and around Dodge County, we had some reports of some downpours of rain. That's where about 1 inch to 2 inches of rain was measured last evening. Right now, it's a wet situation, looking at the possibility another ½ inch or so of rain this morning. Here's our Lewis Stidauto camera, some wet pavement, some gray skies, and some droplets on the camera lens. And if you look closely, maybe a little lightning here and there. 65 in Rochester, Mason City 70 at this point. We're on our way to the low 80s this afternoon. Weather Almanac, typical high is 74. Already in that range at this hour. We're going to work our way back to around 80 later today. Allergy report, moderate for trees, but everything else in the low end of the scale. Look for some showers and storms this morning, then breaks in the clouds and the showers, and activity really winds down shortly afternoon. Look for a high this afternoon, 80 degrees, so definitely a warm summer-like day. Most of the rain now in just the next several hours through late this morning.
Okay, yeah, good things to know so that we can head out the door with our umbrella or our raincoat this morning.
Yeah, you'll need it for a few hours.
That's for sure. Thanks, Ted. We do want to give you a look at some of that flooding and hail that took place in Casson, the residents they're experiencing. What you're seeing here is the area of 1st Street and 5th Avenue Northeast. Yeah, this is piles of hail. People who live on this street say flooding here is actually common after heavy rains, and they tell us the street has issues with drainage, and they're frustrated that the city really has not addressed this problem.
This has to be taken care of. We shouldn't have to worry every single time it rains, which I'm paranoid every time it rains. I don't sleep all night long because I'm scared of what will happen.
Yeah, those images, it looks like snow in July or June, right? Yeah, so if you have any photos or videos from this weekend's weather, we would love for you to submit them on our website, KTTC.com.
Traffic alert as you're heading out the door this morning. Drivers on Highway 56 in Leroy are going to need to look out for some detours that start today. Construction work there is moving into stage 2 out of 3, according to MnDOT. Crews are going to be working between County Road 56 and South Mather Street. The agency says traffic will be detoured along County Roads 12, 53, and 11. You can see that on your map there. The detour will be in place through mid-August, and we have all of this information on our website.
Rochester Public Transit riders now have a new park and ride option in town. The 75th Street Park and Ride begins service today. The new long-planned facility costs more than $3 million and is the city's first owned park and ride facility. It will house up to 500 cars for transit riders and is free for everyone to use. The intent is to help reduce vehicle congestion for people heading into downtown by offering trips during the morning, afternoon, and evening commutes every 20 to 30 minutes. RPT says this new option will result in service changes to other routes. And to learn more about those, just go to our website, KTTC.com. In a new research study, the Girl Scouts of the USA is finding that most girls between the ages of 5 and 13 actually experience loneliness.
And with age, it's finding that feeling can just increase. Our Charles Kelly has been looking into this morning and spoke with the Girl Scout River Valleys to hear how they are working to combat this feeling among girls that can be pretty young. Good morning.
Good morning, Jess and Kelsey. The Girl Scout program focuses on making friends in peer groups with the help of adult support. This new study says 70% of girls ages 5 to 13 experience loneliness. Chief Engagement Officer for Girl Scout River Valleys, Susan Anderson, says one contributor to this feeling is disconnection and isolation. The data shows that with age, loneliness intensifies and leads to a decrease in confidence. Anderson says there's promising news because the study finds that the power of friendship boosts confidence in girls to try something new.
But when we really look at youth, it's new in that maybe we haven't thought about how youth experience mental health challenges in the frame of loneliness, right? And so when you think about how youth spend their days, right, they're oftentimes, we hear lots of people talking about this addiction to screens and screen time.
Anderson says they're finding out girls actually prefer real-life interactions like going outdoors or being creative with peers rather than just scrolling on their phones. She says Girl Scouts is continuing to increase connections for young girls. Adult volunteers play an important role in the Girl Scout program, and Anderson says they are trained on how to be aware of the signs if someone is struggling and how to create safety in the Girl Scout experience. For any young girls that are wanting to join Girl Scouts, they say that they can do so at any time throughout the year. So, that is their word of advice for anyone that's out there maybe experiencing loneliness is to get involved and make those connections.
This is such an important topic, isn't it?
Absolutely. Mental health is so important and it affects people of all ages.
Thank you so much, Charles. Good story there. This morning, we want to give you a live look at our nation's capital as both the House and Senate are returning to Washington, D.C. today. President Biden is heading overseas while the Supreme Court has some big decisions on their hands. Our D.C. Bureau reporter, Ryan Henson, has a preview of our week ahead in Washington.
Congress has a full schedule when they return to Capitol Hill after being away for more than a week. The House Subcommittee on the Coronavirus has a hearing with Dr. Anthony Fauci. Now, Fauci is the former director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, an integral advisor to then President Donald Trump during the pandemic. Tuesday, House Oversight Committee has a hearing with Attorney General Merrick Garland. President Biden will be traveling quite a bit next week. He's campaigning in Connecticut on Monday, then departs for France on Tuesday. President Biden's supposed to give a speech on democracy in France on Thursday on the 80th anniversary of D-Day. And it's June. That means we're expecting Supreme Court rulings this month. The justices have yet to make rulings on several prominent cases, including Trump's presidential immunity, abortion, January 6th, homeless encampments, and more. Well, that's your week ahead in Washington. I'm Ryan Henson.
At least one person is dead, 24 others are hurt after a mass shooting in Akron, Ohio over the weekend. Police say at least 2 victims are in critical condition. A more than $20,000 reward is on the table for information leading to the arrest of a suspect. Police say the victims range in age from 19 to 43. Most of them are in their 30s. Police say evidence suggests this was a late-night drive-by shooting at a birthday party. Officials say they believe some partygoers may have returned fire. More than 100 people may have witnessed the violence.
A lot of shots. I feel like I heard over 50 shots, heard a lot of screaming.
We just heard like fireworks. I thought it was the 4th of July, man. Then I seen cars, everybody running.
We have received a few initial leads and we're following up on those as well.
Officers say the person who died in the shooting was a 27-year-old man.
Developing in north central California, a grass fire is burning more than 14,000 acres, injured at least 2 firefighters, prompted evacuations, and destroyed at least 1 home. The Corral fire is raging in a rural area south of the town of Tracy. That's a little more than an hour south of Sacramento. Authorities believe about 400 personnel with the fire departments are attacking these flames. It is 50% contained right now. Dry conditions and gusty winds are fueling this fire, and the cause is unclear. A former Iowa All-American basketball player has died at the age of 89. Carl Kane was a member of the Fabulous Five, helping the Hawkeyes go to 2 straight Final Fours, including the national championship game in 1956, where Iowa ended up losing to Bill Russell and San Francisco. Kane would later play on the 1956 U.S. Olympic team with Russell and another former Hawkeye, Charles Darling. Kane's number 21 is retired by the Hawkeyes. A long-standing tradition celebrating the end of the parish year.
The Diocese of Winona-Rochester took part in a special Corpus Christi celebration and Mass in Rochester over the weekend. People gathering at the Co-Cathedral of St. John the Evangelist and joining a Eucharistic procession through downtown. Starting at the cathedral, people walked to Mayo Civic Center before Mass, and then from the Civic Center to St. Francis of Assisi. And this is part of a national movement that symbolizes walking with Jesus.
Yeah, so this is a really, really exciting moment for American Catholicism, but I think for any kind of American religion overall. It's the biggest Eucharistic procession in world history. What that basically means is that Catholics think that what we're carrying around in the procession at the very front is Jesus, our Savior, who is fully present here.
Leaders say the procession brings people from all walks of life together.
A special guest from Sri Lanka is visiting Rochester as part of an exchange program with the Salvation Army. Later this year, 10 Salvation Army representatives from both Rochester and the Twin Cities will be traveling to Sri Lanka. They will be supporting the South Asian country's Child Development Center to help with painting, plumbing, electrical, and carpentry work. Sri Lanka's Salvation Army Lieutenant Colonel says this exchange program helps him learn new ways that he can give back to his country.
The Salvation Army has two hands. One is a spiritual ministry as well as the social ministry. So that's its slogan is heart to God, hand to man.
He says he appreciates this international partnership and thinks this is a helpful way of sharing resources. It is 5:41 on this Monday morning. A good time was had by all.
Was it ever? A surprise twist in the stock toss as Ted and I continued our friendly rhubarb rivalry that has spanned the years. Ted, we're going to have some more fun reliving those moments after we talk about what's happening outside right now.
And it was raining then, it's raining now. We have more rain in store for our Monday, some thunder also on the map. Not severe weather though. We have some rain chances and still the possibility of some strong storms in the next couple of days. We'll have the latest in your forecast after the break. After an evening of strong thunderstorms in the area, some hail, some powerful wind gusts, downpours of rain, today's weather a little more benign, but we still have to deal with some thunder and some moderate rainfall in the area. So the good news is, yeah, it's not severe weather. The bad news is it is going to be a soggy morning commute for many of us. Here's the current view from some of our, right now, our future track radar activity now moving to the east. Most of the activity that was impacting Rochester has moved east, all the thunder anyway. Light rain now falling in the Med-City and more of that rain to the west, but the most raucous activity, the most widespread thunder pushing eastward pretty quickly along this warm front that's now draped across the Mississippi Valley. That's migrating eastward. Center of low pressure still to the northwest. And until the cold front of the system moves through, we're going to still have that warm, humid, kind of unstable setup for weather. And that means thunderstorms this morning into the early afternoon, maybe more storms tomorrow. Right now, droplets on the camera lens. You certainly get an idea what's happening outside. A wet, gray morning as we look outside with our Lewis Stidalto cameras here in Rochester. We've had rain here for the past couple of hours. 65 at this point, kind of a gusty southwest breeze. Winona dealing with rain and some lightning also. 66 there, and Mesa City drying out at 70 this hour. Showers and some thunder for many of us for the morning commute for the next hour or two. 65 degrees with south winds around 15 miles per hour. Showers and storms mostly this morning, not completely done afternoon. There may be a brief shower in a couple of spots, but most of us will be dry by the early afternoon with increasing sunshine. Rain chances return tomorrow, especially in the afternoon, with some thunderstorms and maybe a couple of strong storms tomorrow evening. Something we'll keep an eye on certainly for the next day and a half. And then after that, things do get progressively quieter, drier, and very mild. A decent stretch of very peaceful summer weather ahead of us for much of the week. After the first part of the week anyway. But future track this morning, showers and some thunder going on mid-morning. When you look ahead at 9 or 10 o'clock, we start still seeing some shower chances here and there, peaks of sunshine and a gusty south breeze, increasing sun in the afternoon, a stray shower still possible till about 3 or 4 o'clock. By then, most of it's off the map. Skies will be clear tonight, temperatures dropping into the 60s. And then tomorrow, a quiet morning. Then in the afternoon, we start seeing these little showers bubbling up, maybe a brief shower or rumble of thunder after about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Most widespread activity comes in at the line of storms just ahead of that cold front. That's where this might see that strong activity after 5 or 6 o'clock tomorrow evening until about 10 o'clock. Activity moving eastward as much as 1 inch to 1.5 inches of rain between today and tomorrow. With that, of course, that severe risk with the strong winds and maybe some hail and some of those evening storms tomorrow. Quieter weather on Wednesday with some sunshine. Rain chances today, most widespread until about 9 o'clock. That we see activity really winding down shortly after noon today. Severe weather risk tomorrow, level 1 of 5 from the Storm Prediction Center outlook. Hail and winds, the primary concerns across the area from 5 o'clock until 10 p.m. again tomorrow evening. Rain chances today and tomorrow. Slight chance maybe a brief shower on Wednesday afternoon. Otherwise, things looking quieter by then and more seasonable. Typically, it would be in the mid-70s, and we'll be in that range starting Wednesday. But until then, low 80s, very summer-like. It's humidity. And again, those thunderstorm chances today and tomorrow. Today, some thunderstorms this morning, 80 degrees, increasing sunshine in the afternoon. South winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy, 64. A 7-day forecast, thunderstorms tomorrow, then 70s rise for the end of the week, and a beautiful looking weekend is ahead of us as well.
Yeah, looking forward to that this upcoming weekend for sure, but this past weekend, kind of a fun one because, of course, the friendly KTTC morning show rivalry continued in Lanesboro at the Rhubarb Festival. You know, Jess and Ted, they kick off the Rhubarb Games every year by seeing who could throw the rhubarb stalk the farthest. Let's take a look at what happened. And there you have it. Ted actually tends to be a powerhouse in this event, but in a shocking twist, Jess's stock actually soared for the win. Of course, we're going to see Ted now pumping his stock. There it is. You guys were so close. It seemed pretty close, didn't it?
All right, Jess.
You know, it seemed like a victory a decade in the making, which it was.
I love it.
Yeah, but it was so much fun. And, you know, this festival is just the best. And it's a one of a kind.
Oh, yeah.
And if you haven't checked it out, it's always the first Saturday in June. But what really is the star of the event is the rhubarb itself. So if we can go, to that video and look at all of those amazing samples. So this is the rhubarb taste test. 25 different kinds of amazing treats made in local kitchens, all featuring rhubarb. People get so creative with this. And Ted, you've done this so many years too. I have to say this is one of the most competitive ones ever.
Oh.
Yeah, every year it seems it's been growing ever since. Well, certainly since the pandemic. I mean, really, we saw the numbers double over the past couple of years. But yeah, and it was really hard to choose.
Oh,
there were so many options. Very creative people out there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just what you can conceive of. It's that and more.
Well, and the line for the taste test is always one of the longest at the festival, right?
Yeah.
Because people want to get a taste of all of those unique creations.
Yeah.
So thanks to all the volunteer bakers. We had a blast.
Still to come this morning, it seems like lately the prices for just about everything are getting higher.
And Costco says the buck is stopping at the price of its popular hot dogs. We'll explain coming up. It is 5:51.
KTTC website.
Costco's new chief financial officer used his earnings call to address something that's incredibly important to customers, the $1.50 hot dog soda combo, which has cost the same since 1985. The chain's CFO says despite media speculation, the price of that is not going up. And that, of course, is welcome news to inflation-weary customers who have seen the end of other longtime deals like Trader Joe's 19-cent bananas and the $10 membership at Planet Fitness. If Costco's hot dog deal kept pace with inflation, it would cost nearly $4.50 today. But the $1.50 price point is actually a strategic decision. Costco says it's willing to lose money on the deal if it helps draw and retain customers. Plus, the company offsets hot dog losses by cutting costs and raising prices for pizza and other food court items.
Amazon's drone delivery service is getting a green light from the Federal Aviation Administration, the online retail giant receiving federal approval to have its drones fly longer distances without ground spotters, and that's according to Amazon. The company says new technology it has developed paved the way for FAA permission. Prior to this announcement, Amazon drones had to fly within a pilot's view. Clearing this regulatory hurdle now opens the door for Amazon to start working on servicing more parts of the nation. Amazon plans to expand its delivery zone in College Station, Texas, one of the company's testing areas. The company's goal is to deliver 500 million packages per year using drones by 2030. It is 5:56 on a wet morning out there. We do have some shocking new details in a deadly shooting case involving a Minnesota state trooper last year.
Plus, honoring a young life taken too soon. We are in Winona as the community remembers Madeline Kingsbury and fights to end domestic violence. We're back in a moment.
Community Calendar, sponsored by Juries.
New details about the shooting that left a Minneapolis police officer dead. What we are learning from state officials.
Plus, an important conversation that parents